Hello, it's Rufus here. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible. Lord knows this is not the first of these I've tried to record. They all seem to take a million years. So I just want to very quickly say two things. The first is the news that I will no longer be participating in Dancing on Ice. Unfortunately, having come into contact with somebody with COVID and then isolating, it transpired I myself had COVID. So I have dealt with that and quarantined and the like. Unfortunately, the rules on Dancing on Ice are completely, cut and dry, very strict, because they need to keep everybody on that production as safe as possible. So it seemed like when I was just quarantining, there might be a window of opportunity for me to be able to get back to the show, a window which I now know doesn't exist. That's it. That is the reason I am not on Dancing on Ice, is the health and safety team have said currently that is not something they can allow. And that sucks. It sucks because I got to spend a big chunk of the last 6 months with Johnston, who has been a tremendous pal throughout all of this, a brilliant ice dance teacher, and, human sunshine. In her, I found somebody who was ready for all sorts of mad ideas about things we could do. This is one of the many things that sucks, right? It's like, we could have dressed as battle dwarves from Dungeons and Dragons, and instead of ice dancing, do ice fighting with big hammers. That was going to be one of the things. Or for Valentine's Day, trying to do an ice rave to Entrance's Only Love Will Set You Free. We just really were setting out to make it all as crazy as possible. And now we won't get a chance to do that. So for the effort that Robin put into trying to make it as good as possible for me, to make me as good as possible at ice dancing, all of that sucks. The other thing that I would also like to briefly touch on that sucks is obviously that for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it's been, various journalists have made it their mission to encourage their readership to think of me as scum. And I know that because many of their readership have reached out over social media to tell me that they think I'm scum. For comments I made years ago, which I have apologised for. Now, just saying you're sorry, I don't think necessarily gets you out of owning your shit. And that ultimately is why I haven't ever deleted my Twitter feed. There are some tweets, and some of the specific tweets in question I absolutely have deleted. But they don't disappear from public record. The other things that I haven't deleted, I deliberately have left available to people so that you can see that the person I have been is not the person I am now. And that when I have apologised for things I have said or words that I've used, I have stopped using them. I'm not just trying to go, oh, don't look at that, don't look at that. No, look at it. I own it. That's why I've said I'm sorry. I do it in good faith. But the people reporting on those old tweets are not doing it in good faith. And instead are willfully misrepresenting even what I said at the time. But, regardless, it isn't about fairness. It's about their side trying to get somebody from the other side. And by the way, when they set out to get me, before I'd even said anything on television, they were already sending journalists to my in-laws' house. My in-laws, who are absolutely in the most at-risk group. They sent a journalist to their house and knocked on their door in the middle of a global pandemic. They sent a journalist to my wife's house, we're separated, during lockdown, to ask her how she felt about me. So, whilst there may well be a sense of, well, if you hadn't said the thing about feeding starving children, maybe this wouldn't have happened. How dare you take an entertainment show and make it political? They were out to get me, it would seem. And the frustration is that this will now be presented back to their readers as, we got him, ITV sacked him, ha ha. rather than the truth of it, which is that, contrary to my own belief, I may not be Superman and am as likely to get a disease as anybody else. So look, try and wrap it up, try and be quick, Hound. Thank you to everyone who reached out with a kind word. Plenty of people, in fact, far more people reached out and said, we realise what BS this is, than actually messaged me with, unpleasantness. And I am genuinely grateful for that. I'm also grateful to ITV for everything that they have done throughout all of this in trying to get me back to the show as quickly as they could. And I want to say the opposite of thank you to people whose job it is to paint targets on people who stand on national television and say, I'm not feeling incredibly emotionally stable. The opposite of thank you to them. But please know, this is not your victory. Or if it is your victory, then know that you are technically on the same side as a virus. So you're cool.